Right, Joey, welcome, mate.
Thanks for having me.
Let's just start off by giving a little bit of a chat about what you do, who you are now.
Yep.
What your impact on the world is, mate. Because I tell you what, you're fucking doing all right these days.
It's going all right, yeah. Thanks for that, mate. Well, listen, first off, thanks for having me. Glad that the Casual Fan podcast has made a comeback. We started off at the same time, didn't we? Mate, I think we was like a week apart or something.
Yeah, it weren't far at all when we were in the other studio.
Yeah.
And it was actually Fred who got us a recommendation from you. He said that you'd started.
Yeah, so me and Noor started doing a bit together on an old podcast. And then, I think you must have messaged us about a week after or something. Yeah. We recommended you to there, and then it went on from there sort of thing, and everyone's gone different paths and whatever, but me and you have found our sort of way back here. It's going well, man. It's like, it's mad, isn't it? Because I started doing podcasting, like, just thought it'd be a bit of fun or something, and then now it's like, I've stopped doing the other two jobs I was doing. I do this full time now. It's like I'm reliant on it. It's my living. So it's mad, man. It's sick.
Because I tell you what, as a time scale, it's not been that long, really, has it? Since you started, like, what was that?
It was August 22 that I started doing it with Noor. Mm-hmm. We did it for about 4 months or something, and then just like worked. Like, my work was never busy. I was a PT, so I was like training people. But when I say PT, I wasn't even in the gym. So I was doing like boxing training with people. I had been fighting, but I'd stopped. And then, like, my work was very easy going, whereas like Noor had a better job than me. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, he was being paid more, and he had like a lot more responsibility of his job, and it wasn't as flexible. So we ended up doing our sort of own things, and I launched my own YouTube channel in, I think it was like the 28th of January or something, 2023. So it's literally, we've just gone past like the year milestone with that YouTube channel. I think when I started doing it on my own, I don't think I imagined it would have gone the way it went, sort of thing. Did you
have like a little plan then? At that, when you knew that you were going to go on your own? Because what would you call it? Would you say you're like a pundit, like a... You don't even know, just reviews?
I ain't got a fucking clue, mate. I literally ain't got a clue. Like, do you know what's mad?
That was your chance to call yourself an expert, mate.
Yeah. Boxing expert, football expert. I don't know, man. Like, even now, you know, like, I get awkward when people ask me what I do. Yeah. Because people go, what do you do then? And I'm like... you know, this and that, and then they think I'm a drug dealer because I say this and that, and they're like, and then like, say like my sister or my mum or whatever, always like, he's a YouTuber, he does YouTube and whatever. But you know what it is, like, I put podcasts and stuff out on YouTube, talk about football, talk about boxing, whatever. When you say YouTuber, for people that don't understand YouTube, they think I'm fucking sat in my bedroom, like, putting outfits on and, like, proper cringe. So
what YouTube are you watching?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I know, No, but that's what I'm saying, like, so I don't necessarily always go, oh, yeah, I'm a YouTuber straight away. So I suppose I am a YouTuber.
You're a YouTuber now, yeah. But was that, like, your plan when you first started out, like you say, when you went on your own? Did you think, I want to be... like so-and-so, or I want to take this in this direction? Or did you just think, I'm just going to do the content that you're doing, you know, the boxing reviews, the football reviews, and I'm just going to run with it and see where it goes?
Do you know what's mad? Yeah, like, I'm not... I've never read, like, The Secret, anything like that. I understand about, like, the law of attraction, but I haven't like based my life around thinking like, oh, if I envision these things, they're going to happen to me type thing. Yeah. But there's a little sort of story around it. So I've loved YouTube for years, like probably started really, really digesting loads of content through YouTube around 2012 or something. So well over 10 years ago, right? And I used to be a massive stoner. Right, and I just
me and you both, brother. Yeah. Me and you both.
And I just used to sit in my sister's back garden smoking, watching YouTube. Yeah. And the guys that I was watching religiously was True Geordie, like constantly watching all that sort of stuff. The kickoff, constant, like every upload from the kickoff I would watch, you know what I mean? And what's funny was, that was like my relaxed time, yeah? So this is when I say about the law of attraction type thing. I was never watching the kickoff thinking, I'm going to be on it one day. That was never a thing of mine. That was like how I relaxed, was watching boxing, watching that, probably having a smoke and just watching YouTube. So I've always loved YouTube. And then how it come about originally was Noor's brother, he owns a barbershop, right? And he was on a podcast, quite a well-known podcast. He was on it, and I text Noor saying, I'm watching your brother on this podcast type thing. And it got us talking. And I was saying, like, the guy that was interviewing him, he should have asked him about this, and he should have asked him about that. And then it snowballed from there, and we said, we could do something like that. So that was how I got into it. And as for, like, the Chelsea content, which is how I sort of grew my name, mate, I never planned to do Chelsea content. Like, it just so happened that you follow the trend, you follow the numbers, really, being realistic. Like, I'm sure I could do things that I'm not comfortable with and I don't enjoy that could get me more numbers. But when you find something that you like talking about anyway, and then it gets the numbers, you're like, right, bomb, tunnel vision on that. So when I started talking about Chelsea, I was noticing that the interaction was good, the numbers were good, the subscribers were going up. So I ended up following that. But the funny thing, right, and this is the truth, I never sat there and thought, I want to be on the kickoff, or I want to work with Brian, the True Geordie, or I want to do this and that and that. But one thing I did think, that from the first day that me and Noor did a podcast, I thought, if I can grow this, I'm going to get on that Misfits.
Yeah,
and then that ended up actually happening. So that's the one thing that I did have a goal at.
Yeah.
But everything else was playing it by ear, seeing how it went sort of thing.
You say that about, like, following the trends and, like, noticing kind of what bangs and what doesn't stuff. Obviously, stuff that you like doing anyway. It's the same for everything, isn't it? I've had it recently as well, and it is always around those topics of, like, sport, basically, because people are fanatics, aren't they?
Yeah.
I did a clip recently. I don't really do too much on TikTok. On the TikTok, fucking hell, show my
The
age
TikTok?
there. Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. You sound like my mum. He's on the YouTube.
I sound like my mum.
Yeah.
And it was I did a thing about Rangers and Celtic. I'm a big Rangers fan, right? So I was sat there with my dad. I did a Porsche with my dad, and we were talking about Rangers and Celtic, and it just fucking blew up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? For my level,
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Got fucking tenfold the views and interaction that anything else did, and I was like, do you know what? Is this the way that I go? Do I take it this sort of direction? Because I've never really had that kind of vision. But like you say, if you've noticed that that's kind of your lane that you can do the best at, you know that that's what you want to kind of chase and you want to follow. But then,
do you know, if you do that, like, you can do that to an extent, and then once you have a bit more behind you, and once people are starting to recognize you through that, then you can start to branch out. So it's like, it's ironic, if you said to me, what's your favourite sport? It's boxing.
Yeah.
Boxing's my favourite sport. Like, I love football. I've been a football fan longer than I've been a boxing fan. Yeah. I've been to 10 times as many Chelsea matches as I have boxing events. 1,000 times as many. Like, you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. And I love Chelsea, but boxing's my first love, you know what I mean? But it just so happened that the Chelsea route took me there, and now I'm continuing with it, but now I'm sort of branching out sort of thing. So like you're saying there, if you find a path that's giving you the numbers, I don't think there's anything wrong with sometimes going, right, it's not the exact job I wanted, but I have got the job. You know what I mean? And then maybe by that I can get to the other thing. So I always try to keep an open mind with them things, really. Yeah.
Try and, like you say, follow the route, and then take it from there as you start to grow. It's a good way to do it, to be fair, isn't it? Because there is a lot of that, especially with YouTube, and it's changing all the time, isn't it? Like the trains, even to the point what music you put on, what fucking hashtags you put on, that sort of stuff. You kind of have to do a little bit of keeping up with the algorithms. You just got to
constantly learn on the job, you know? and like sponge off everyone. Like all the guys that I've been very lucky to work with now would be able to tell you, like, I'm asking them questions all the time. Yeah. I'm going, how do you do that then? What tag do you put on that? Who does your thumbnail? Like, I'm very inquisitive about these things, because then if I can translate 1% of the success that some of these guys have had into my own stuff, then I'm going to be onto a winner.
Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's big. When was it that you noticed it starting to, like, starting to take off, starting to bang?
Numbers wise, like me and Noor used to do fucking massive numbers, you know, like massive numbers. But what we did do is like, don't get me wrong, we never said stuff we didn't believe, but sometimes we would like hone in on the more controversial stuff, like, you know, a controversial take and whatever. And that was like our sort of game plan in trying to get ourselves off the ground. And we did really well. Like the World Cup, so the Winter World Cup, mate, the numbers, we were uploading to Instagram, and like it was just casual for us to get 500,000 views. Like we had Instagram videos that had done like 4.2 million views, like just talking about football, right? And around that time, like the World Cup, like obviously I'm in the pubs watching the football. Around that time I was like, God, this is popping, isn't it? Because people keep coming up to me and saying whatever. But Instagram weren't paying nothing, so you can get you like your brand deals and your sponsorships and stuff, but we were at like infant stages then. Instagram weren't paying nothing, so I was always very, very keen on getting the YouTube rolling, because I knew that the AdSense on the YouTube was going to be the thing that could give me like a steady income, push me out there, show people that I can talk over an hour rather than just like talking on a minute and a half clipped up segment that you're going to see on social media. So then it was like, when I went on my own, probably, do you know what? Whenever I go, like, obviously, if I go to Stamford Bridge and go and watch Chelsea, I'm always going to notice, like, a lot of people watch the podcast. But that's because I'm condensing my audience into, like, one place. Like, everyone's going to watch it type thing. It's not like I'd walk down the street and people be like, yeah, mate, seen your podcast. So that's just because it's in that sort of area. So always noticed it when I went up to Chelsea. But do you know what? Funny enough, right? Me and a couple of my pals went out to Tenerife last summer, and it was like the season had just ended, and we're like down on the strip. And again, maybe it's because of the demographic of like people that are down there, but I couldn't believe how many people was coming over to me going, "Mate, I watch your podcast." And this is when I'd got the YouTube running and whatnot, and I reckon that's the time I was like, God, a lot of people have seen this, you know.
Yeah.
And then the opportunities, it was around that time, like back end of summer, that's when the opportunities started coming. That's when I met Josh Aveste, who is obviously at that point was a regular on the Kickoff, still is a regular on the Kickoff. Me and him hit it off, really good relationship. Through him I met Brian, became a regular on the Kickoff, started doing bits with Joel Bayer, who does obviously the podcast of Rio Ferdinand, and working with like ex-footballers and stuff like that, guys that I had like, mad, isn't it? Like, I was doing like podcasts with Danny Murphy and stuff, and I remember sitting in the stands watching Danny Murphy. Like, so it's a bit surreal. At the start,
because that is a big jump from like sitting in, like you say, sitting in a studio or whatever. Especially just having a camera on yourself, talking about it, and then being like, hold on a minute, I'm getting fucking invites left, right, and centre here. Like, I'm actually going to be going on shows and stuff. Like, it's a very different kind of like dynamic and aspect. Did that like you say, that come about from being friends with him? Did that intimidate you when you first like went for it? Were you thinking, fucking hell, I better show up here?
Yeah.
I better show up.
To an extent, like to an extent where I'm like, oh, I really want to do well. Like, you know, I don't want to fuck my words up, and I want to speak well. And even little things like, you know, like certain shows, like if I'm on the Kickoff, I'll fucking F and blind and whatever, I don't care. But if I'm in Rio's office and I'm doing a podcast with Danny Murphy and someone, I'm not gonna want to be dropping the F-bombing all the time. So, you know, like being conscious of where you're at, what audience this is going out to, things like that. But ultimately, like I was never that nervous, because my background was for probably 8 years before doing podcasting, I was boxing, and it's like, that's the real nervous stuff, going into gyms and seeing your sparring partners looking shit hot on the bag before you're about to get in a ring with them, and even on the night actually fighting, that's the real nervous stuff. So I was able
down
to,
on their gum shield, like,
that's it, in. So I was able to give it the context and be like, right, okay, this ain't that deep. Like, no one's going to hit me, you know what I mean? Hopefully, so it's all right. Yeah, don't
say the wrong thing about Liverpool. Danny Murphy, man. Kick right off. What was that experience like when you first started doing the True Geordie? Because True Geordie's fucking, that's a big gig, mate. It's a big gig, like, with the like the Rio Ferdinand stuff and that as well, and the Kickoff, obviously a massive reach in the football community. But True Geordie's got like, he's got a fucking blanket over a lot of topics, you know what I mean? He does a lot of stuff. So was that kind of that experience going into that, was it a bit like, was it kind of, I've got to not just play my cards right here, but, I've got to try and appeal to a whole different sort of demographic of people.
Yeah, well, like the other thing as well is I think it's like the first bits of live content I had done, because the shows are going out live. Do you know what I mean? So if you say something offensive, or if you just say something like, not that I would say certain offensive things or whatever, but at the end of the day, like,
never know
if me and you were having a bit of banter or whatever, and I said something, I go, fucking hell, don't put that in. Yeah. Someone will take offence, you know what I mean? Because that's humour, like, the way the world's gone, like, you know what I mean? Yeah, you can't say anything. And it doesn't mean that if I said something, that would be a belief of mine. I've said it for a laugh or whatever. Yeah. On a live stream, you can't do that. You know what I mean? And by the way, I'm not like massive. I'm not like saying really offensive stuff all the time. But you just got to be more careful with your words and stuff like that. And obviously, the other factor is, mate, I'm like very happy to say I'm a fan of Brian. Like, I still am. I still watch every bit of content he does.
Watching him at
but
home.
Growing up, like, and in my early 20s and whatever, if Brian uploaded a video, I've probably watched it within the first 2-3 hours it's gone up. Do you know what I mean? So meeting him for the first time was a bit like, oh, this is a bit fucking surreal. Like, I've been watching this guy for years and stuff. And genuinely, I wouldn't just say it, like, he was one of the content creators that I did always have that respect for, and like always valued like what he would say and stuff. And when I went on the kickoff, I remember literally thinking, like, never thinking I was going to become a regular or anything like that. But I thought, right, get through it. Don't fuck up at all. Give a good account of myself. And if nothing else, then from the start of this little podcast journey, which, was a thought in my mind that we just thought up and got in the studio and did, I've somehow managed to worm my way by hook or by crook onto the Kickoff, which is a show that I watched for years and years. So I could walk away happy then. Like, I could be like, fucking hell, that's mad. Like, I've been on there once. But obviously then through that, we like, obviously all myself, me, Brian and Josh developed like quite a close rapport, relationship, whatever. And now it's like them two are two of my best pals. Do you know what I mean? We speak on the phone every single day and whatnot. So it just went on from there. So now, like, I'm not sitting with Brian and being like, wow, I'm with True Geordie. Like,
look, it's me.
Hold that thought selfie every 2 seconds. Yeah. Now it's not like that.
Big dog, can you just sign up for
it?
Was it kind of like, because a lot of people say, like, don't meet your heroes. Do you know what I mean? But did you kind of click and have that sort of, like, a pretty solid relationship? Obviously, you're not going to sit and slag him off. I know that. But, like...
Oh, he's a right cunt.
It's a nightmare going in there every week. But did you have that, like, click straight away?
Yeah.
Because you've got a good chemistry. Like, when you're doing videos and stuff together, even on the lives, the sort of, like, the banter and there's, like, a bit of chat. Obviously, the knowledge goes a long way. But did you have that, like...
And that's probably why I used to like to digest his content, because I probably used to find the things he said funny.
Yeah.
And then... not knowing it at the time, but now upon knowing him, he finds the things I say funny. We've got a similar sense of humour. We both got like quite a dry and quite a dark sense of humour at times and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, mate, like, obviously Brian's from up north, but he's the sort of bloke that I would knock about within my normal life. Like, you know what I mean? I've always got along with Geordies. Like, wherever, I don't know why, for some reason, I shouldn't say it on here, but I like the Geordie women.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? And like, I don't know, like anyone from Newcastle, I've always got on quite well with. Like, I went and had a weekend up in Newcastle when I was younger. I fucking loved it. Right. And it was like, this is like back in the day when I was single and whatever. And like, you go different places and you'd always like the birds. But like Liverpool, I didn't like the fellas, you know what I mean? Like a lot of places I'm like, oh God. Mate, the Geordies were fucking welcoming. Like, I was making mates up there, like going for it's sick up there, man.
You say that.
They're good people.
I'm moving up there.
Oh, yeah?
I'm moving up there at the end of the month, mate. Yeah. Well, it's just outside.
Where?
Of Newcastle. Annick.
Right, okay.
So it's a little town, do you know what I mean? It's
how far drive is it into Newcastle?
About half hour.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
That's not too bad.
That'd go quick back of a cab, 2 a.m, pissed out your head.
But how much? Yeah, fuck it, I'll pay
Have you been there before on a night out? sick,
yeah.
innit?
Like, man, I fucking love it up there. And it's like you say, there is
Start
a big
at the top of that strip,
people.
innit? And the further you go down, the more gritty it gets. But like, it's sick. Yeah,
you fucking end up in the depths by the time you come towards the end of the night. Like, fucking, maybe it's time to get out of it. If you start to notice my accent, start throwing rocks at me.
Do you know what's funny? Yeah, you see that thing you said about like never meet your heroes type thing. Well, I'm not going to go that far to say that the people I've met are like heroes of mine, but do you know what I mean? Like, I've met a lot of people now, and I have met a couple of heroes of mine, like Joe Cole. Obviously, I've done a couple of bits of content with him now, and he was definitely a hero of mine growing up. I can't think of someone I've met who I didn't like.
Really?
Like, everyone I've met, actually, I could probably think of one or two, but they weren't my heroes, you know what I mean? Like, they're just people I sort of knew who they were. Yeah. But, bruv, like, everyone I've met has been so nice. Like, everyone's sweet, man. Everyone's cool. And I don't think they'd be sort of in this industry if they weren't, because it involves you spending a lot of time around people. Like, that's probably one of the reasons. Like, I've never been as close with someone or a couple of people as I am with Brian and Josh, having only known them guys since like August. So what's that like? Yeah. I've known them 6 months, and we're like best mates, you know what I mean? And I've never been that close with anyone over a 6-month period. But do you know what it's like? Yeah, when you're doing these shows and stuff and these podcasts, you spend a lot of time with each other. So you know, like when people fucking go in a Big Brother house and they come out and they're all loved up after 2 weeks, fucking disgusting, isn't it? But like that's because they're with each other 24 hours a day. Yeah. So when we go and do the kickoff and that, and when we do these things, we're there from 11 a.m. and I'll probably leave at like 12 at night or whatever.
Fuck me, is it that big a day?
Well, it only is, but like some of the other ones will shoot off earlier, but we end up staying and having a beer and a bit of food and whatever, maybe a nice roast dinner or something like that. So it ends up being a long old day. Yeah. So because of the amount of time spent to each other, you grow closer with these people. But what I'm saying is, the reason I'm saying everyone's nice is if you were a cock, people wouldn't want to spend that much time around you, would they? Do you know what I mean? So
that's the thing, mate. These people have got, like, with shows like that, they've got so many people that they could choose. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Everyone is going to be fucking banging at the door for an opportunity. And unless you're, like, your personalities align, you ain't going to work,
mate,
is it?
Because do you know how many people there are better than me? Like... Fuck me. There's so many people that are better than me, more knowledgeable, probably speak better, more analytical when it comes to breaking things down and whatever. But one thing that I've found is like just your click with people will be like, you know, say for example, if I've got a bit of work needs doing, let's say you're a Tyler, right? Yeah. And I've got a bit of work needs doing. And I've got one bloke who I might actually think like does a little bit of a better job than you, whatever. But I like you. I'm going to be like, nah, well, let's get Cam in. You know what I mean? Like, and that's and then when you go through things, although on the outside you'd think it's like a different way, and you'd think it's more watertight and that. Actually, it's all the fucking same. Yeah. You get your mates in to do stuff, and you know what I mean. So it's. I suppose it's networking, but I didn't ever try and do that. It's just natural, you know what I mean?
I think that's probably a testament to yourself. Like that's probably the best part about it, is that they probably know or meet a lot of people who come in for an opportunity and play fake. Do you know what I mean? Put a personality on or try and be something. If you go in there genuine, do you know what I mean? Like you say, you know their background, you know what they're like, you've seen them before and stuff. You know that your personalities align already, so you've got the confidence to go in there and just be yourself. And then that actually, like you say, creates a better relationship with them, and that's where that rapport comes in, doesn't it?
Yeah, like, I think on YouTube, like, you've just got to be yourself, man, because you get found out otherwise. Yeah. And it's like, I don't know, like, even...
It's hard to keep that act up as well.
Yeah.
It's fucking exhausting,
Well hard. Because then as you go and you like, it's like Jake Paul is a prime example. Yeah. You hear loads of people, and I know people that have met Jake Paul and stuff that say like, although he's got this villain persona and that, he's a fucking lovely guy. Like do anything for anyone. Like such a nice guy. So, like, where he's gone to that level, don't get me wrong, like, people's perceptions and the way you're seen can change and stuff. But it's almost like, okay, I'm here now. Yeah. I've got what I wanted. The party's over, but I can't take off the costume because people know me as this this person, you know what I mean? So I think from the start, I've always just been very much myself and very like open to like I just said to you there, I'm there's people more knowledgeable than me, there's people more analytical, better and stuff, but I think if you own it and you know that, then what can people really say?
But
like
it's relatable, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not everyone is the fucking smartest bloke in the room. Do you know what I mean? And to be honest, I ain't gonna try to be because I know it's just fucking fake.
Yeah, that's it.
It's relatable if you're that bloke and you're passionate. Do you know what I mean? You're talking about like fucking hell. I tell you what, Chelsea are fucking wank.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
like, I'm not gonna try and dilly dally.
Well, do you know why people don't do it though? Is because people like, let's say for example, look, I'm never that fucking scathing of Chelsea players and that. Like, I'm always pretty all right with it, but I think like some people have the ambition to go and work for the club and get whatever. Like, say for example, like I don't know, they probably wouldn't want to get me on. Like maybe they might for stuff. I don't know, BT Sport or TNT, what it is, have had me on doing stuff for them and whatnot. But like, maybe they might think I'm a bit too raw because if someone's played shit, I'll say he's fucking shit, mate. Like, you know what I mean? And you can't really do that. But in my head, I'm like, that's not really my ambition. Like, my ambition is to get the best of what I can do without ever selling my soul. Yeah, like, exactly. And that's the one thing that I've still never sold my soul for nothing. Even when we do like advert stuff, for the channel, like I'll do them purposely cringe, knowing that it's like, look, I understand it. Yeah, we're doing an advert. It's a bit cringe, you know what I mean? So instead of me trying to make it not cringe and trying to make it whatever, I'll just make it cringe because I just trust the people that I know to go, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so, I was gonna say, you got to fucking, like you say, you got to buy. Everyone knows, do you know what I mean? Even the fucking brand knows. Like,
of course.
Wait till them big numbers come, mate.
Yeah.
Wait till the big numbers come. You'll be changing a few things there.
Yeah, man.
But how did that sort of like the TNT stuff and going in and doing that more sort of like punditry pre-game stuff, how'd that come about? Was that again just kind of someone
initially through Joel Bayer? So Joel Bayer is a big Arsenal fan, and he's obviously got the Vibe with Five set up with Rio Ferdinand. Joel Bayer, did he reach out to me or no, I think he reached out to me, you know. Yeah, I think randomly. Yeah, because I'm thinking surely, I'm thinking surely I've reached out to him. Honestly, he reached out to me because he saw me. There's like a sports page, 360 on Instagram. Yeah. 360 reposted me. Joel see it. He's reached out, and then straight away, this is what I'm saying. Like, I would be like, right, let's get you in, sort of thing. So I said to him, "Can you come to the studio?" He came in. We did a bit. And then again, it was one of them things. It was like, I've seen Joel's content for years, sick. Like, I've just done something with him. Yeah. If I don't do anything else with him again, instead of being, whatever, I'll be like, yeah, sick. I done something with him that one time. And then it snowballed from there. He started getting me in on his stuff. And we was having a chat once. And I said to Joel, like, he was talking about a footballer he'd had on for the podcast. I can't remember who it was now. But I said to him, mate, you need to get some more Chelsea boys on. And he said, we have had a few on, whatever. I said, do you know who I'd love to see you podcast with? I said, Joe Cole. I said, Joe Cole was like my favourite player growing up. He played for Chelsea. He was called Joe, you know what I mean? Absolutely loved him. And I met him once and spent like half a day with Joe Cole at the training ground once. I got left with him and I had like lunch with him in the canteen and all that. And I was telling him this story. And then must have been about a month later, Joel rang me and he was like, listen, he was like, TNT have just asked me to go and do some interviews tomorrow. We're interviewing Laura Woods and Great Salt. And she is lovely, Laura Woods, really nice woman. And Joe Cole. And I was like, yeah, what? Like, am I coming to sit and fucking carry your water and pass your notebook and that? He was like, no, you're interviewing with me. And I was like, sick, that's fucking mad. So I'd done that, interviewed them that day, and that was a bit for TNT. And then recently got a call from TNT on only really like not less than a day's notice, and they said, can you come Stamford Bridge tomorrow, interview Joe Cole? And I only did like a quick little segment, but it's like...
But still, it's kind of like foot in the door kind of stuff as well.
Yeah.
Like you say, but also from your own perspective, it's fucking interviewing Joe Cole, mate.
Yeah.
Like, this is huge for
it's
me.
Mad.
It's huge,
but you know what? It does get like... Now I'm not really like...
Yeah. Because you've done it.
Yeah.
I mean? You're like, it's a reality.
Now I'm meeting these like, not he's saying everyone, but even like, say, for, you know, the rapper Young'un.
Yeah.
We done a podcast the other day, and it's like, when I was younger, I used to listen to Young'un. You know what I mean? So, but not that it's not. It's like, don't get me wrong. Like, I go home and tell my missus, like, oh, guess who I was with today?
Yeah.
Guess who I met? Like, whatever. But at the same time, I'm not like, wow, like, you know what I mean? Because now I'm just like, yeah, well, I'm sort of in this industry now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come across these people. There'll still be moments, like surreal moments, like
Super Frank,
mate.
Super
Could you
Frank.
imagine?
Can you imagine?
Frank, JT,
Mourinho.
that's the them and certain boxers and stuff. Like, you know, the boxing channel IFL.
I don't.
IFL TV, it's a massive boxing channel. They do all the interviews of boxing. They've done it for years. They're like the market leader in boxing interviews, yeah. And like on Misfits Fight Week, some bloke's come over and he's gone, hello mate, yeah, I'm my name. And I was like, yeah, I know you, yeah, IFL. And he was like, yeah, can we grab an interview with you? And then that was one of them moments where I'm like, mad.
Yeah.
IFL are asking
Let me
to
get a tight
interview me.
t-shirt.
Yeah. Certain moments, like Joe Cole was speaking to me about the Barcelona game, Chelsea-Barcelona in Champions League 2005. Like, that was another one of them where I'm like, fucking hell. So I have these little surreal moments every now and again, but it's not constant, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't
That's
think
good,
they'd like
though.
that either.
I was going to say that. That's good, because if you've got that kind of like starstruck sort of like initial kind of front,
It's like chatting up a bird, mate, isn't it? If you go over and it's like, you're the best thing I've ever seen in my whole life, oh my God, like, you know what I mean? Whereas if you play it cool, they're more likely to reciprocate, and it's the same. It's the same with them. It's cringe, but I'll admit it, just being honest, I purposely try and play things cool. Like, I am like, oh my God, Joe Cole's over there, but I'm like, all right, Joe, what's happening, mate? Yeah, you all right? Yeah.
That's it, because to be fair, it probably makes him feel more at ease as well. Or
That's it, yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about that boxing, actually, because you recently fought on a Misfits card.
Yeah.
Like, man, it was fucking obliteration, I've got to say. Poor fella. I actually started to feel bad for the bloke.
So did
like,
I.
all respect to him, but fair play to getting in there and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But Jesus Christ, I was like, this is men against boys here. But how'd that come about?
So, mate, through Brian, really. Like, mate, I sound like I'm just licking his arse here, but Brian, for everything fucking good that's happened for me really has come through Brian. Like, of course, other people have played a part, and I'm very, very grateful for all of it. Like, Joel Bear played a part for getting me on stuff and whatnot, and plenty more people. Like, but most of the good stuff that's happened for me recently has all come through Brian, really. Like, you know, he's one of these people that just like, he'll work with his mates and he'll do anything. Like, at first I used to be like, oh, I can't be asking, well, it's a bit fucking beggy. Whereas now I'm like, mate, can you do this for me, that for me, and this for me? You know what I mean? But yeah, so we obviously started off doing the football content together, but we were always talking boxing, off air, talking boxing all the time. And then he's got the Pain Game, which is his second channel or third channel. He's got obviously his own channel, his football channel, and his boxing and MMA channel. And after we had always been talking about boxing stuff, he was like, we should get you on the Pain Game. I started going on there, talking about boxing. And he had said to me for ages, he was like, why ain't you got a boxing channel? And I'm like, well, I've got my football channel. It's a bit like, he was like, mate, you should get a boxing channel. You should launch that. So then I started getting serious about doing that. And we did a live stream. And it was the KSI Tommy Fury fight, right? And Dean the Great's fighting. He's fighting at lightweight, and obviously I was a lightweight. And I was saying to Brian, obviously, to be fair, like, I had a few beers at the time, but I still think it. I still, I still think it now. Anyways, it don't matter. But I was like, I'd smash Dean the Great. I'd beat Dean the Great, and he was like, like whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I'd smash all of these, like whatever. And it's going from there. And in the end, he was like, look, I can speak to Mams about getting you on there if you want to fight on Misfits. And at the time, I was like, because I'd boxed for like, I had a fight my first fight was 2015.
Yeah.
I fought on it like very irregularly. So I never had like, I had like 2 fight runs where in the space of like 3 months I'd had 2 fights. But then I'd just not fight for like a year. And like in between, like I said to you, I used to be a stoner and that, yeah. Like I'd still smoke weed and stuff in between and just didn't take it serious, I weren't even really a good boxer, to be honest, but I just had a good chin fearless, and I'd get in there with pros and just wouldn't really care and whatever. And then I started taking that boxing more serious. Had a little run, won a couple of belts like on the unlicensed scene, and lockdown just completely killed it off for me.
Yeah.
So I fought probably the best level that I had fought at, or I still have fought at, was I fought a guy who had come out the amateurs, and I think he'd had about 35 amateur fights, and I won like a paper thin decision against him. I won't say could have gone either way because I did win, but I just won by like a point. You know what I mean? And actually, he was a better boxer than me, like much classier boxer, better boxer. But I just fucking got in and old manned him, roughed him up, cut him, was trying to open that, sticking my thumb in his cut and all sorts. It's horrible.
That's what we like.
Yeah.
Fucking sweating on the geezer.
That's it, yeah.
Sneezing on him.
Yeah. Didn't have a wash for 2 weeks before smothering him. So I had that fight. And then I was sort of thinking, I want to go pro. Like, I was a good ticket seller and whatever. Lockdown then hits. And then it was just like, mate, I was fucking depressed. I was just like, didn't know whether I was coming or going. I'm so like structure and routine driven. Like, I have to have routine. Like, have to know what I'm doing. I like to know what I'm doing every hour of every day. Like, otherwise, that's my sanity. That's how I like make sense of the world. Do you know what I mean?
Autism, bro.
Yeah. I think it is a little bit, to be honest.
Door, mate.
I know, yeah. So yeah, like, and then lockdown happened, and I just completely like stopped it. Then I was like, I'd got to such a good level, not in boxing, but in terms of where I came from. I'd got to such a good level. That I was like, I've got to do a bit more, man. Like, I've got to do a bit more. So Mrs. ended up pregnant. Still don't know who the dad is. No, I'm joking. Yeah. No, like she got pregnant, and I was sort of like training and looking at potentially going pro. And listen, I wouldn't have been a good pro. Like, I wasn't good enough to fucking do anything as a pro. But what it is I was good enough to maybe make a bit of money as a pro. Yeah. Because boxing's a popularity contest. You got to be good enough, but it's a popularity contest. Really, it's about who can sell tickets. So, and I could sell tickets. Yeah. So,
that's pretty much the birth of the Misfits thing as it is, isn't it?
Well, that's it. If I couldn't draw eyeballs, I wouldn't be on there anyway.
Yeah.
So I was looking at that. That ended up not happening because the British Boxing Board of Control wouldn't accept me for a licence because I hadn't had amateur bouts. I'd sort of said, look, I've just beat a standout amateur, like a decent amateur, and I can show you the footage of me beating him. Yeah. So doesn't that qualify me? But it's like, nah, you know what I mean? Like, a gypsy can't go and get car insurance without doing their test just because their dad used to let them fucking whip the van around the fucking industrial estate. You know what I mean? And that's sort of what it's like. Yeah, they might be a good driver, but... Yeah. So anyway, then I'm like well disheartened. Couldn't be fucked with it. Had one fight against a journeyman who had come down from Manchester. I remember I told my missus, like, don't come to the fight. She was like well pregnant. And I didn't want her to see it if it was like traumatic or whatever, because it was much bigger than me, and I thought, she's going to go in there and take his head off. It could be a bloodbath. I don't want to put her through the stress. Yeah. I remember being in the ring. I told her not to come, and I'm in the ring, and I always look out for my family. Spotted her in the crowd, and I'm like, oh, fuck, she's here.
Got to put on a show.
Yeah. So then I had to box a bit more safety first, but I did that. I had the fight, and then I was like, went into like a down period where, you know, I was like sick of it. Didn't want to box no more. Wasn't ever going to box. Was so happily retired. Yeah. And was just like, done a bit on the unlicensed scene. Let's focus all into podcasting. And then obviously through Brian, got the Misfits opportunity. Even that, I just, not that I didn't believe his word, but it's like, you just don't believe these things are going to happen. Yeah. So I just didn't really think it was going to happen. And then I've just randomly got the call, like, I think it was like 2 days before Christmas, this Christmas just gone. Yeah. And they were like, right, we've got an opponent for you. They'd offered it to like 4 guys. That
really?
Yeah, like, mate, we really, really struggled to get opponents because of my style, I look fucking sick sometimes. Yeah. But actually I'm not. Like,
floating around the ring and
that's what I'm saying. But that's because whenever I can understand that I'm a level above someone, my style allows me to look mustard. Yeah. Because the showman stuff and whatever and the movement. when I'm in there, like I said about that amateur guy, I didn't look good against him.
Yeah.
I look dirty and got it done dirty. So I know how to win, but I don't always look that good. But when people look at the stuff of me looking good and dodging punches and that, they're like, fuck that, I'm not fighting him. He's unreal. Like, you know what I mean? Naturally, I'm not. I'm just that sort of Misfits level. Like, so yeah, they kept having people turn it down and whatnot. Then they got someone, which is that most wanted guy. And then it went from there, fighting in front of like thousands of people in Leeds, mad.
Yeah,
like
even the whole like experience, that whole build up and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Doing press conferences and all that sort of thing, like the face off and all. Like you say, you've had a taste of it in the unlicensed world and stuff. But that is
nothing, not a patch on that.
Yeah,
level,
that's a different level, isn't it?
Like even like, listen, I'm not fucking into all the social media clout and stuff like that, but I'd be lying to say it's not a fucking whirlwind. Like it
tickles your ego for sure.
Oh, it does that, yeah. But also it gets you down. Like I don't know. I'm like fuck. I really spike, yeah. So after my fight, like 2 days after we had the fight, got right on the piss, had a good time, come back from Leeds. But 2 days after, Brian was like, "How are you then?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm alright." And he was like, "No, how are you?" And I was like, thinking, Zeno, if someone told him, say it or whatever. And I was like, fucking feel so down in the dumps, mate. Like, I got this. And he was like, he said to me, he was like, do you feel like you got this like feeling of like impending doom? And I was like, yeah. I said, what's all that about? And he was like, mate, he said, you've just gone properly viral.
Yeah.
He was like, you've had podcast clips that have gone a little bit viral, but this is like, bomb, 20 million people have seen you lay some fella out and whatever. And he was like, with that high, he was like, then you just come crashing back down.
Arguably,
sort of
like the highlight of the fucking night as well, in the sense of performance-wise. Like,
well, I thought I was going to win a bonus because there was like a knockout of the night bonus and performance of the night, and I was thinking I might get that performance of the night. Yeah. It's like a 10 grand bonus, but didn't fucking win it. So yeah, fuck them.
I was going to say, give it to someone with a bigger name.
Yeah.
But that must have been, just like you say, that whole experience. Has that made you want to go? Because you're now obviously going to go and do it again.
I'm in the tournament, yeah.
And that is a step up.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, mate. You're coming away with a belt. You're coming away with a fucking gold strap. But did that, after that sort of dip, that low, were you like, fuck it, I've got to put myself in this again and get back up to that high? Or was it just kind of, I want to just prove to myself, prove to everyone else that I am better than the sort of opponent that you were against in that?
Yeah, I'm quite. No, listen. He'll go on and like probably be in decent fights. Like he was a nice bloke. He took an opportunity when other people turned their nose up at it. And let's have it right. Like he weren't a journeyman. He was brought in to win. He thought he was going to win. That what no one saw was like we stayed in the same hotel. Like all of the fighters were in the same hotel. Everyone in that card's in the same hotel, and media events, everything. We're all in each other's pockets all week.
Yeah.
And like, there was a lot of times when he said stuff to me, and I'm thinking, you cheeky cunt. You know what I mean? Like there was one point, like KSI is walking through the reception, and everyone's fucking KSI, like, you know what I mean? Whatever. And I'm just sat there, like I say, like playing it cool, like not going over, like mate, whatever. So I'm just sort of sat there on the sofa chilling out. My opponent's come up, he's right in front of me, he's walked up to KSI and he's gone, mate, like, thanks for the opportunity. I'm fighting True Geordies, mate, and everyone thinks he's going to win, but I'm going to knock him out. And I was thinking, I sat there and I'm like,
you bold little bastard.
Yeah, like, so going into the fight, and as well, you got to remember, I'm a massive Tyson Fury fan, sorry. And what had we just seen in the last Tyson Fury fight? We had seen a guy that had never boxed before but had an MMA background go in there and give him one of the hardest fights he's had in fuck knows how long. So that's in my mind as well. I'm thinking, I've had the boxing background, but this guy, all right, most wanted weren't in Ghana, but fuck you know, you know what I mean? So that's playing on my mind. So I'm still thinking I need to go in there and put in a good performance. But after, it was like, right, what next? Even like you see that there's a moment when I don't think I dropped him. I've shuffled round the side, done a little pivot, hit him with a right hand,
dazed him,
and straight away I've dropped my head right, and people were going, "Oh, showboating," or he thought he had a no look knockout, like walk off knockout. Not at all, none of that. That was my thing of being like, I'm not celebrating this or looking thingy in this because this kid's had enough now. And it should have been stopped. Like at that moment, it should have been stopped, or the towel should have come in. So when I've gone bomb and put my head down, that's my way of being like, come on. Like, I'm happy for you to stop it here. Like, if you want to stop it, I'm cool. Like, whatever. They didn't. It went on, but the tougher tests are to come. I don't know how. When's this gonna go out?
Probably Monday. Yeah.
I don't think my opponent would have been announced by then. I'll tell you off air who it is.
You do know though, yeah.
I know I'm fighting. Yeah.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Fancy your chances?
Yeah. Like the guy. I'll tell you who I'm not fighting. There's a guy in the tournament called Yuddy Gang. And he won Golden Gloves in America, amateur boxer. Good, like he's like pro level. He's good. There's a guy in there called Little Cray Cray. He's like one of these street beefs. Do you ever watch Street Beefs? No, it's like
Little Cray Cray's already putting me off.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad I just go by my name, sort of thing. Yeah, like he's pretty good. He's won a Golden Gloves. Walid Sharks, who fought Dina Great, he's won a Golden Gloves. So there's 3 boys in there that it's like on amateur pedigree, they need to be beating me. Like they should be beating me. If I had won a Golden Gloves and then you went, right, you got a guy who's like 11-0, 10-0, whatever, I'd be fancying myself to beat him all day long. So these guys should be favourites against me, to be honest. But then quite a few of the like guys on the internet are picking me. Yeah. So not that fucking means anything. I've still got to go in there and win.
Yeah, lining you up to get slaughtered.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
No, I'm looking forward to it because, like you say, this is. I've got not a bee in my bonnet. Don't get me wrong, because I tune in every fucking time. But the Misfits thing, I'm a big boxing fan. I love my boxing, and I always have like old school boxing. Fucking big fan. And I see the Misfits thing, and I'm like, I get it. I buy into it, but a lot of the time I sit there going, fuck off. Fuck off. But they're starting and they're building to a point where they're actually getting some good level fighters. Do you know what I mean? Some people
mate, like me really being on there without sounding egotistical, that is what you've just said. Like, if they weren't looking to do that, why am I on there? Because there's guys that would love to be on Misfits with a much, much bigger following than myself. Do you know what I mean? And as well, like, you play the hand you're dealt. Like, if anyone was, say, for example, if anyone was given the opportunity to go and box that guy that I boxed for X amount of money, which, believe me, is more than all of my fights put together, and you said, right, do you want to go and do that when I got a fucking daughter at home who I need to feed and whatnot? Like, it's like, of course I fucking do, you know what I mean? So, so it's like, I think, realistically, now they're looking at upping the level, and when you look at the level of that lightweight tournament, mate, there's no bums in there. Like everyone's decent. Like I ain't saying it's pro level.
Reading off their accolades there with some of the guys, like
3 Golden Gloves winners. You got me who went and ripped through the unlicensed scene and was winning fights all the time. You got other kids on there that have had amateur fights and there's highlight reel knockouts of them and stuff like that. I get it, like, and I don't think Misfits will ever come away from like the stuff that maybe you might find a bit more cringe and whatever. But you got to remember, mate, like, it ain't really made for you.
No,
do you know what I mean? Like, you know, when I come out the ring, like, on the old unlicensing, sometimes someone might ask for a picture of you or saying, but it's not that often. But like, if they did, it'd be a guy around our age or bird around our age or whatever. Mate, when I come out that ring on Misfits, kids flocking me.
Yeah.
It's not just made for kids because obviously, like, the YouTube fans, like, if you're into YouTube, you know, you're gonna be on it. You're gonna want to see it. But of course, a hardcore boxing fan's just gonna think, you know, they're getting paid more than pro level boxers.
This is the thing. See, I'm not so fussed about that because the show speaks for itself. Do you know what I mean? Like, they put on the performance, they put on the production and everything. It's all there. Everything's like entertaining. Do you know what I mean? It's a spectacle from start to finish. And I've got to be honest with you, mate, the way boxing's been the last 10 years, there's some stuff I'm watching these high level pros and I'm thinking, fucking only danger someone throwing a bit of cash at this because it's a tough fucking watch. In the build-ups and stuff, the undercards, that sort of thing. Whereas with the Misfit stuff, they've kind of like bought into making it a spectacle. But some of it is just like,
it's shit. Some
of it is just like you say, it's obviously targeted at that entertainment for the
But
people
to
who aren't a hardcore fan.
That's what I'm saying. To some people, that thing, one man's fucking trash is another man's treasure. You know what I mean?
Exactly that.
And maybe in this situation, one man's trash is another child's treasure. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what it is. It's Misfits is the modern day WWE. We grew up watching WWE, loving WWE, and not that I watch it anymore, but like from what I see, it fell off quite a lot and whatever. And Misfits will probably take that over. And listen, like they've got a multi-year contract now with the Zone. They got a lot of fight dates. Like they're really, really building here, and there's something going on there. So it's gonna go from strength to strength, and it's gonna like. It's here to stay. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I do think they also realise that they've got to up the level of quality of their fighters to keep people wanting to watch and to build these fighters and these storylines.
That is pretty evident. Do you know what I mean? Like you say, they are doing that.
Well, they had Tommy Fury on. Not saying he's like a world champion level boxer or anything, but he's a decent boxer. Like even KSI's got to a good level. Do you know what I mean? It's mad. Like if you think about these boxers, like imagine you had a pro boxer who could box like, I mean, you sort of got this Vidal Riley doing it at the minute, but imagine like all the pro boxers, say like Chris Billam-Smith, right?
Yeah.
He's a cruiserweight. Jake Paul's a cruiserweight. Imagine you could put Chris Billam-Smith's quality and skill into Jake Paul's personality, showmanship, and the way he sells himself online. You got a pay-per-view superstar, and a legit one, because it's one that can actually fucking fight. Do you know what I mean? Jake Paul can fight, but not on pro level. He can't.
He's
you know what I mean?
At a different level.
Like obviously he hung it with Tommy Fury, but what is Tommy Fury good enough to win a Southern Area title as a cruiserweight? I would probably argue maybe not. You know what I mean? So there are levels to it. Even myself, like I'm gonna look good on Misfits. I think I'm gonna beat all the guys on Misfits. Stick me in the pro ranks, guys would kill me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's because it's that sort of it is that step up in your mentality as well. Do you know what I mean? When you go on the Misfit stuff, like you say, you're buying into everything that's going on with it. It's the spectacle, it's the opportunity, and all that sort of stuff. When you jump into the pro ranks, it's just a bit more like, fucking hell. Eddie Hearn breathing down my shoulder. Fucking doing like this is a
that'd be a surreal moment if I ever meet him. That'd be mad.
I fucking love Eddie Hearn.
Yeah, I met Callis Howland. Like he promotes the Misfit shows. Yeah. And obviously, when I'm saying to like my mates who aren't like hardcore boxing fans, I'm like, Callis Howland, they're like, who? And I'm like, Callis Howland, they're like, who? And I'm like, the guy that everyone memes because he looks like he's on the packet. Yeah, like, he's always he's sat in press conferences and he's not even talking. He goes, like that. Like,
he's got eyes like snooker balls.
Yeah. He's a legend, really nice bloke, Callis Howland. Yeah.
Well, you're fucking moving your way up the table now, mate.
It's crazy, man. The amount of people that was at that Misfits thing. I'm like sat there. Got fucking Dapper Laughs one side of me, Big Joe Egan behind me, Brian next to me. Obviously, like it's mad. Like there's a lot of names and faces. Like Luke Littler, he was there.
Was he?
He was there. Yeah.
Oh, what a big darts boy.
Yeah.
It's mad. It's fucking mate. It is. It's credit to you. Do you know what I mean? It's like we say again. It's come from a pretty short period of time. To get away, like you say, your boxing abilities, obviously what's put you there on the Misfits world. But it's a fucking massive jump. It's unreal, mate.
Yeah, it's mad.
It is. Keep riding the wave, son. Keep riding the fucking wave.
Mate, that's it, man. I'm just like trying to keep going with it, keep smashing out the content, and like the main thing is like, do you know what you see? A lot of these guys that get on Misfits, they get there through their content. They get on Misfits and just fucking drop the content. Like and then they're not doing
that's your opportunity
any of that.
To step it up.
Whereas I'm like, mate, I went on holiday 2 days after the fight or something, took my microphone away with me, fucking took like my stuff that I could record content out there, and I was working out there and banging it out and whatnot. And just like the main thing for me is like, remember what got you the opportunity and keep doing that. Don't think motivated. Like, oh, I've cracked it. You know what I mean? I fought on Misfits. Like, because at the end of the day, listen, one punch changes it all. And if I go in there in this tournament, I was about to say my opponent, but if I go in there against him and he lands a fucking big haymaker on me, I'm yesterday's chip shop paper. Do you know what I mean? And no one gives a fuck. So then it's like, okay, draw back to the podcast, pump that content out and whatever. So I think you're spinning plates, but like you got to be constantly loads of different little avenues.
Yeah, it's almost like you say, focus on the origins of it. Focus on what it started, what got you there, and all that sort of stuff, and then like just manage that other stuff around it. Yeah. It's a good way to go, mate.
Yeah,
like you say, it's just staying motivated, because it's easy. It's easy to step off, and it's easy to kind of take your foot off the gas.
Well, especially like when you come from, brother, like, I don't want this to come across in the wrong way when I say it, like I'm trying to say I'm not now, but like I was skint. Do you know what I mean? Like I was fucking skint, man. Like I was doing personal training. That dropped off after COVID anyway, so I was still doing it, but less and less people were getting PT. Like the cost of living crisis fucked me. Yeah, I went from earning like an average salary as a PT to I think I was earning like a quarter or a third of what I was earning. At the same time as that, I've then got a mouth to feed. I've got a daughter who's reliant on me. Like, very lucky because obviously, you know, like I PT'd out of a log cabin in my parents' garden, right? So like, unlike gym,
stuff,
the overheads are really low and stuff like that. So I could keep my head above water, sort of thing. But like,
it was proving more difficult.
It was, and it's like now it actually scares me looking back to be like, bro, what the fuck was I gonna do? In the moment, I wasn't really that stressed, like, because I always believed in this podcast thing, and I always believed in this YouTube thing, and I thought I'm gonna get there, man. Like I'm gonna do this. But at the same time, fucking the bills don't stop coming in, mate, and everything costs money, and the price of everything's fucking going up. And I'm like, so now I'm like, I feel like I'm a teenager again. Remember when you was a teenager, like young teenager, and you didn't need any money? No, but like I used to get a $5 and that'd do me the weekend. Do you know what I mean? Because I fucking rob him from everywhere.
Mate, 4 cans of K were £4. I was fucking laughing on a $5.
You used to be able to go into a shop, you'd have a quid on you get a Freddo, you get whatever drink you want, loads of different sweets, magazine. Now there's fucking CCTV everywhere. No, joking. No, but like, this is what I'm saying. Like, money was never a concern when you were young.
Yeah.
And now I'm like having a little bit of a taste of that again, where it's like, I'm not saying money isn't a concern. I can't go and fucking buy whatever I want.
Comfortable,
I'm
do you
not
know what
worried.
I mean? Yeah,
and that's the main
exactly
thing.
That.
Like,
Not
worrying. So nice. I said like the other day, like I'm definitely I'm the happiest I've ever been in my whole life, which is pretty much like I was saying about routine and direction. It's like the first time I'm like, right, I know what I'm doing. I've got direction. I know I'm fighting on these dates and doing this. I know I'm doing this bit of content this day with this person. And for me, that like routine and direction's everything, because as soon as I drop it, this is why I'm saying I was so depressed in lockdown, because as soon as I drop them things, I'm a fucking mess, and I'm horrible to be around as well. It's not don't feel sorry for me, feel sorry for the people around me, because I'm fucking knobhead when I'm like that.
I know exactly.
It's a nightmare, isn't it?
It is. I get called it all the time. But mate, it's the motivation and the confidence to maintain that motivation. It's a big thing. I think a lot of people just say, you stay consistent, stay motivated, stay consistent. But you've got to have the confidence in it as well. If you have that belief, it sounds cheesy, but that belief to chase your dream or belief to chase that opportunity, that makes the biggest difference, because that gives you the actual mindset and the want to be motivated. So
how's things going for yourself with all the podcasts and stuff? Because you're just now getting back to it after a bit of a hiatus, isn't you?
It's different. The thing is that when Fred and I started, we never really had like a proper direction. Do you know what I mean? We were like, we'll do like MMA stuff, but when we just got more sort of feedback off just the casual chat, people were like, it's like listening to the boys in a pub. Do you know what I mean? So we were like, we'll run with this, and then we'll drop the UFC stuff in and around it. We'll drop the fight stuff in and around it. And we just kind of fell off. So starting again on my own, it's just trying to figure it out. It's just that initial working out which way it's taking it, what's going to work best, like how often do I like put things out, how often can I put things out. Like it's just at the minute, because it is just so new and started, it's just kind of like figuring out, getting all the ducks in a row, seeing what works best for me to like build things. But it's this sort of thing, mate. Just sitting down and having a chat. Do you know what I mean? There's so many fucking interesting people out there from all different kind of aspects, who've got all different kind of interests. People don't have to be an expert on everything,
mate.
Do you know what I mean?
It's
like,
all about just the way you talk to people.
Yeah,
and
if you want to be an expert, listen to Joe Rogan, brother.
Yeah,
because I don't know. Do you know what I mean? And
but
so
a lot of
people
stuff's
out there
easy
that
listening
don't.
as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So like,
that.
I used to listen to yours and Fred's stuff, like because you was putting stuff on Spotify as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I used to listen to yours and Fred's stuff, and it's like. And I mean this in the right way, like it's easy listening. I liked it. It's just two blokes talking and I'm fucking marinating my food and doing my dinner and that and whatever. And it's good, like that sort of stuff is like a massive market for it. And it's exactly like you say, you ain't got to be a fucking expert.
Yeah.
Like
there's so much space in that podcast world. Do you know what I mean? There's so much space. I listen to 5 or 6 different podcasts. Do you know what I mean? And even more, just rotating them all and stuff. So it's kind of getting out, like you say, it's all casual. Just casual chats with casual people about fucking interesting topics. Do you know what I mean? And you ain't got to be an expert. It's just kind of getting down really. Just talking, bro. It's just talking. It's good.
Well, listen, you're very good at it. So I think, but that's. Like obviously just a natural thing, you know what I mean? Like I don't think you get someone that can do what you're doing that you wouldn't then go and have a good chat in the pub with or you know fucking football with or whatever. Like it's just it's weird, isn't it?
Knowing a little bit about a lot goes a long way. Do you know what I mean? 'Cause then you have that ability to just have conversation.
Yeah, just bounce off people as they're talking. Do you know what's funny? Yeah, you know you go to school to like learn what you're gonna do and whatever. Mate, I didn't get fucking, like, I don't even think I got my 5. You know, you need your 5 to...
Yeah.
I don't even think I got them. I think I got 4 or something. I was, like, thick as shit in school. Rubbish at all the subjects. But how my life's panned out all came from school.
Yeah.
Just not in any lessons. Fucking, like, without sounding cringe, I'm not saying like I try to do it, but, like, learning how to fucking make people laugh and get on with people and have good conversations with people, that all comes from school. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's that social
fucking
setting.
Ironically, learning how to fight, that all comes from school. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, of course, the gyms and the boxing stuff harnessed it.
That hones the skills.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, it's mad, like, the way that we're taught now and whatever, and the curriculum and all that, because the way the world's gone, mate, if you can talk and if you can get people to fucking buy into what you're saying, you'll never be skint. Yeah. You'll always make money for your whole life.
Someone will always be interested.
Yeah.
And someone will always listen. Yeah. It's good.
Yeah.
You've done well, mate. Fucking hats off to you. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you, mate. I appreciate that.
We've actually chatted so much that I didn't even get to do my little quiz. I got for
what
you
was
a
your
quiz? Next
we
time.
could do a round 2. Yeah.
We'll
do a round 2.
Part 2. No, Joey, mate, fucking best of luck.
Thanks for having me, mate. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Best of luck with the podcast. It's I can tell it's going to go on to good things. So.
That's smart man.
Yeah.
That's smart man. We'll share the fuck out of it with Joe Rock. You've got much further reach than I have.
I will, clip it up and get out there.
Nice one. Cheers, brother.
All good. Thank you, mate.
Mate, that was unreal.
That's good, man.